Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Gibbs, and I am passionate about helping scholarly mamas like you navigate your journeys with purpose so you can achieve your life and academic goals without sacrificing what matters. The reality is that scholarly mama life is multidimensional. We're scholars, yes, but we're also mothers, wives, and so much more with whole lives outside of academia. So how do we successfully navigate all this? Well, first, we need the space to embrace this unique blend. Only then can we begin the important work of becoming purposefully whole. And part of my own purposeful work is to create a space for us as scholarly mamas to grow, to reflect, and to become everything that we were meant to be. So, mama, are you in? Fabulous. Let's begin. These are our journeys of becoming. Hey mamas, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I recently got back from a 1-week celebratory trip to New York, to the Big Apple, and it was twofold. I went there as my husband and parents arranged this child-free week away for me, and I was able to go to New York and spend some quality time with my mom, and my mom also surprised me with a celebration with some friends and family out for my kind of post-PhD celebration, which was really, really lovely. We had such a wonderful time. And I just felt incredibly blessed and incredibly celebrated, which was really nice. So yeah, I just went there. I had a week away from the boys and my husband. And it was actually, at first I was really, not keen on the idea of going, but they kind of sold it to me. And I think one of the things that really helped with that is that my husband and my boys kept saying to me how much I deserved this as a gift for how hard I've worked on my PhD, and obviously now being at the end of that process, just to enjoy a week of celebration child-free. And so I went and I had a really nice time with my mum. And yeah, looking back on it, I think, this is the importance of just taking a break from the routine, the daily routine. And I'm not implying that in order to practice self-care, you need to take a solo trip anywhere. But just when someone blesses you with something or wants to give you something, that you embrace the blessing of it, you embrace the gift, you embrace the act of kindness. And so that's what I did. I knew the boys were in good hands with their dad. There was nothing for me to worry about. And I just went and enjoyed a child-free week in New York, which was absolutely amazing. However, as lovely as it sounds to be whisked away to America for a whole week without kids, the reality is that there was quite a lot of forward planning, advanced planning that went into making that week reality. The logistics of it were incredible. And so if you want, I can share some of that in a future episode, how I actually made that happen once the decision was actually made that I was going to go. And just so to, kind of bring this back to reality, it wasn't just a matter of, as lovely as it sounds, just showing up to the airport and being whisked off. No, there was actually quite a lot of planning that went into this trip, and advanced planning for the boys and making sure that things were in place. And yeah, so it was lovely as it was. There was quite a lot of planning required to make it a reality. So I just want to kind of keep it real. I don't want to sell a false kind of, reality of this fairy tale. It wasn't a fairy tale in the sense that there was quite a lot of forward planning to be done before that could actually happen. So, Mama, if you've been listening and tuning into this podcast for quite some time, you can probably tell that my voice suddenly has a very husky tone. It's because I am recovering from a mild cold. And so I did lose my voice a little bit, but it's coming back. It's coming back. But I hope that despite that, you could still take something useful away from today's episode. In this episode, I actually wanted to focus specifically on the benefits of doing your PhD part-time as a scholarly mama. Because the PhD mother juggle struggle is what it is, in many cases, and I know not always, because I know there's some PhD mothers who are doing their PhDs full time, and all power to you, but there's some of us who've had to choose to do theirs part time for a variety of reasons. And I just wanted to specifically speak to the benefits of doing that. Just in case you're at the point where you are considering doing a PhD as a mama and trying to work out how on earth you're going to make this happen. Or maybe you've been doing your PhD full time all along, but now that you're a mama, you're beginning to question whether you can continue to do this full time. How are you going to make this work? And do you need to consider another way? Like, how are you going to make this PhD goal a reality? And so when you are faced with this decision, of course, there are many options for how you might navigate the situation. And of course, this is an individual decision, so it doesn't mean that what works for me may work for you. But one of the things that really helped me when I was faced with the decision of how am I going to make this a reality when I'm juggling so many responsibilities was that I chose to do my PhD part-time. I chose to do it part-time so that I could do other things as well. And so I wanted to speak today about the benefits of doing your PhD part-time as a scholarly mama. And so the first benefit for part-time PhD study is flexibility. So part-time study allows you to juggle and blend your academic pursuits with your family responsibilities. You can adjust your study schedule to accommodate your children's needs or look after them in between also completing your PhD work. And so this was a huge benefit to me because that flexibility was key. That flexibility of being able to not be expected to work on my PhD every single day, all day, was actually a huge reason why I chose to do my PhD part-time, so that I could attend to my other responsibilities without guilt, so that I can attend my children's activities at school. We could still go on holiday without guilt. I can do other things outside of my PhD. It allowed me to really tame it and not allow it to take over my life. And that was key. That flexibility was absolutely key. The next benefit I found of doing my PhD part-time was financial stability. So doing my PhD part-time allowed me to also work and earn an income while studying part-time, which helped to support my family financially. So whether you are being paid a salary for doing your PhD or whether you're working outside of your PhD as well, I did both. It allows you to have that financial stability. It allows you to not have to depend on perhaps a stipend from your PhD, but you can also be earning an income, which allows you to do other things. For example, my husband and I, during my PhD, were able to purchase our first home. And that was only remotely possible because I had an income. I had a source of income. We were able to get a mortgage and able to purchase our first home. So the third benefit of doing a PhD part-time is it allows you to develop other skills. So by doing your PhD part-time, you're forced to develop time management skills, organizational skills, and be able to, I don't really like the term multitask, but essentially you are able to experience multidimensional skill development. You are not only developing research skills and academic skills, but you're also developing personal skills such as being able to manage your time more effectively,
being able to be more productive in a shorter space of time. And so it really allows you that unique opportunity for personal growth that you might not necessarily experience if you are doing your PhD full time, because maybe that's your only priority and that's, all you're focusing on at the time. And I know that's not always the case, but if you're doing your PhD part time, it's probably because you're juggling other responsibilities as well, whether those be parenting responsibilities, caring responsibilities, work responsibilities, just other things. And so because of that, naturally you develop skills in this kind of multidimensional living. And I think that's so key because that's real life. Real life is multidimensional. And so developing those skills is a key benefit of doing your PhD part-time. So the fourth benefit of doing your PhD part-time is setting a positive example for your kids. So completing your PhD as a mom can serve as an inspiring example for your children, emphasizing the value of education, resilience, and determination. And so by you showing your kids that actually, you know what, I'm not putting my life on hold, but I'm also pursuing something that I want to pursue. I'm also going after a huge goal that I have for myself,
and doing it in a way that allows me not to sacrifice the important stuff, and in a way that allows me to blend various aspects of myself as a mother, as an academic, as whatever other hats, I choose to wear. And so by doing this, it sets such a positive precedence, an example for your children to follow. Not necessarily that they will do a PhD as well. They might or they might not, but it doesn't matter. It's the principle of pursuing that goal and inspiring them to be able to do the same for themselves when they get to that point. So being a positive example as a mama doing a PhD is a huge benefit of doing your PhD part-time. The fifth benefit of doing your PhD part-time is opportunities for networking, both within and outside of academia. People talk about, your net worth being your network. And I think that this may have an even greater significance for mamas doing PhDs part-time.
Because not only are you networking with your fellow academics and researchers and opening potential doors of opportunity for yourself, but if you're working as well, if you are holding a job down as well, or if you are involved in other activities outside of work or academia, you are also networking there too. You're also utilizing your skills in other areas, making connections in other areas. And so it allows you to almost broaden your network because you're able to engage outside of just your sort of PhD circle. You're able to make connections in the real world outside of that. And I think that's so key because when you do finish that PhD, these are some of the networking connections that you may want to tap into for other opportunities. So really key. By doing a PhD part-time, you are inadvertently expanding your professional network. And so the sixth benefit of doing your PhD part-time is the fulfillment and personal growth. Pursuing a PhD can be intellectually rewarding and provide a sense of personal accomplishment, which can positively impact your self-esteem and your well-being. And I think by doing your PhD part-time, I touched on this before, is that you're able to not only develop skills and personal growth within your academic sphere of influence, but outside of that, you're also able to experience fulfillment and personal growth because you're able to also do the things that matter to you. You're able to also put time and energy and, effort into things that truly matter, whether that be your family, your kids, volunteering, building other skills outside of research and academia. You're able to experience fulfillment and growth outside of your PhD. And I think this is crucially key. And when you're doing a PhD part-time, naturally, you have the capacity to be able to do that. It allows you to put energy and effort and intention into things that are perhaps outside of your PhD. So the next benefit of doing a PhD part-time as a scholarly mama is perhaps career advancement. And I know that people doing PhDs part-time are often frowned upon. It's almost like, oh, you're not fully in it. You're not giving it your all. But I think as a mother, it's different. As a mother, you are actually giving it your all, even if you're doing your PhD part-time, because you are juggling so many other responsibilities outside of that. It is almost impossible for you to not be giving this your all. If you were not giving this your all, you probably wouldn't even bother to do a PhD in the first place. But you're doing a PhD on your terms. You're doing a PhD in a way that works for you, your family, your responsibilities. And I think that that's giving it your all. And so by doing so, you are actually enhancing your career potential, your career prospects. You are able to open doors to higher level positions because guess what? You are not just a PhD student. You are a mama. You are juggling other things outside of this PhD. And yes, you're part-time, but guess what? What that means is that you are incredible at juggling high level responsibilities. I think that is incredible. And you should be commended for that. You should not be frowned on for that. You should be commended for being able to complete your PhD part-time while living real life, while juggling your kids, while juggling being a mother, being a wife, being, whatever, like all the other hats that you wear. Surely that speaks for itself about your resilience, your tenacity, your, capability, your ability. It speaks volumes for who you are and what you can do. And so I feel like this is an opportunity for you to step up, to recognize your potential, and to advance your career with the confidence that you can manage difficult stuff, you can juggle difficult things, you can achieve hard things. You can do it, mama. And so the next benefit of doing a PhD part-time is the research opportunities that some universities and institutions offer. Some offer resources for parents, such as childcare services, making it more manageable to be able to pursue a PhD part-time. And so this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to be able to do your PhD in a way that works for you. And I see that as a research opportunity. It's not a barrier to success. It is an opportunity for you to tap into to be able to make this work. And it doesn't have to be the way that everyone else does it, but it's the way that works for you. And in my opinion, in my mind, that's an opportunity. That's a huge benefit of being able to do your PhD part-time. And the final benefit of doing your PhD part-time is the work-life blend. A part-time PhD allows you to strike a better blend between your academic and family life, allowing you to reduce stress and burnout, allowing you to reduce the pressure to finish within a particular time frame, being able to extend that time frame and make it more doable and achievable for you, you are more likely to succeed. Now, I remember attending a seminar a while ago while I was doing my PhD. And one of the things that shocked me was the statistic that most people do not fail PhDs because they're not capable. Most people fail PhDs because they don't finish. And so if you are able to do this PhD in a way that makes it achievable, makes it possible for you to get to the finish line, then that's a win. That's a huge win. And by doing your PhD part-time as a mama, it allows you to do this in a way that makes it feasible for you to get to the finish line. It makes it possible. It makes it more achievable for you. And so I think as a mama, anything that makes it more achievable and makes it more likely that you will reach the finish line is a benefit. And being able to do your PhD part-time allows you to do just that. And so these are the key benefits, I think, of doing a PhD part-time. There is nothing to be ashamed of doing your PhD part-time. There's nothing to be ashamed of if you have to switch from full-time to part-time to make it feasible and achievable for yourself. One of the key things about reaching that finish line, being able to get over the hurdle of completing your PhD, is to recognize what your needs are. What do you need to make this feasible and possible? Perhaps that might be doing your PhD part-time. It doesn't mean that you're any less committed. It doesn't mean that you're any less capable. It doesn't mean that you're any less clever, intelligent, whatever you want to call it. The point is, if it makes it achievable, then it's a benefit. And doing your PhD part-time could be one way to make that happen. Mama, I hope you found this episode helpful. And if you have, please do share it with another scholarly mama you know. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Until next time, I'm sending you lots of love and gratitude. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Mrs. Mummy PhD podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did and you want in on this movement, why not head over to mrsmummyphd.com. You can join the waitlist for our exclusive community of smart, purposeful, scholarly mamas. We'd love to see you on the inside. Remember, mama, these are our journeys of becoming.